Every time I predict Man United to drop the ball, they do okay. And every time I think they're going to do okay, they drop the ball. So I've got absolutely no idea what's going to happen this weekend. They're at home, they're at Old Trafford. They welcome Everton to town, who have had a very storied season so far. But this is a game that's very difficult to predict and forecast because both teams have been up, down, and nowhere in between. Man United's free scoring form seems to have all but dried up at this point. Everton do love a draw away from home, and really when I look at the table, the number one thing that my eye gravitates towards is Man United have only drawn 2 games this season, so I think this game is definitely going to be a draw. From open play, I don't think Everton are going to be creating any opportunities, but I can see Sean Dyche's Everton sneaking a trick or two in at a set piece and getting a goal or two in this game. So I'm going to go for the Desmond 2-2. Man United 2, Everton 2. Bournemouth still have one eye on trying to catch the top 10, which is much more than can be said for Chris Wilder Sheffield United, who go from embarrassment to catastrophe on a weekly basis. There's going to be no slowing down for them either as they go away to Bournemouth, who are a team that at their best look like a really free-flowing attacking team, and when they're playing an opposition potentially like Sheffield United, who are going to give them a wee bit more possession than most Premier League opponents and themselves are very low in confidence and are in the terrible habit of conceding tons and tons of goals. I think this is going to be a game that Andoni Iraola and Bournemouth are going to be hyper motivated to not just get the 3 points, but try and arrest a really terrible goal difference that they've got this season. Sheffield United, but will see this as an opportunity where, right, we can get some credibility back. We can maybe try and overtake Burnley. I think this game might actually go against the trend. I don't think Sheffield United are actually going to concede that many goals in the game, although I do think Bournemouth are going to win it. Sheffield United have only scored 1 goal in 5 matches in February. I'm going to go for Bournemouth to win this 2-0. Ole Glasner and Crystal Palace are absolute wild cards this Premier League weekend. I've been saying it since Glasner's appointment that Palace are going to be slept on, are going to be overlooked for a long time until this ship really gets sailing in the right direction. But this weekend at home to Luton could be one of those games where this Crystal Palace team under Glasner displays its identity, shows its talent on the pitch, and takes Luton to the sword and puts a couple of goals past them. And Luton now will be, definitely looking to get something out of this game. They could maybe still just about catch Nottingham Forrest if they can get the right results before now in the end of the season. So they will be thinking Crystal Palace is a team that they can maybe get a draw from, maybe even snatch a win from. So they'll be coming there with a game plan. And Crystal Palace at the moment, defensively, haven't been that resolute over the last couple of months. Since all the way back in December, every Luton match, except for 3, have been both teams to score. And if Luton do lose, they do tend to concede over 2.5 goals as well. I think this Crystal Palace team does have the instructions from the manager to attack, does have the right routes to go. I could see them scoring 3 goals in this one, but I definitely think Luton are capable of getting 1 or 2 in this game. But I'm going to go for Crystal Palace 3, Luton 1. Fulham and Wolves have been 2 of the dark horses of the season, both hanging around mid-table. Wolves have won 11 games this year. Fulham have won 10. Last time these 2 teams met, Fulham edged it 3-2, and both of these teams have been absolute pantomime all season. It's been goals at both ends. There's been decisions from referees, last minute winners, last minute equalisers. There's been everything going for both of these teams. Unfortunately, Wolves in the last game get absolutely destroyed by Newcastle 3-0, with Fulham compounding their win over Man United with a 3-0 victory over Brighton. This feels like the worst time for both of these teams that they could actually meet each other, which means it's probably going to be the best time they could meet for people like me and you to watch. Both Wolves home matches and Fulham away matches generally see less goals than average for both of these teams, and I think it might be a little bit of that again, where you could get a bit excited and think it could be another 3-2 thriller when it could end up something like 1 each, maybe something a bit more bland. And I'm going to predict Wolves are going to win this game by 3-2. I think they'll even the score with Fulham and take all 3 points. It is going to go from bad to worse for Brentford. They are one of the most out of form teams in the league at the moment, and they are going away to the Emirates to face the mighty Arsenal, who are beating everyone before them significantly with high goal volume. And it feels like Mikel Arteta's men are running for the title race, and they are going to be looking at this game as another one to keep that momentum up, where they're scoring for fun, putting huge numbers on the board and keeping the pressure on Liverpool and Man City. Brentford did get a draw against Chelsea last week, but that's not much of a surprise with the state that Chelsea are in these days. Ivan Toney is going to have his transfer window, his shop window goal, I think. Do think Mark Flecken's capable of pulling out some great saves in this game as well, but ultimately I don't think that's going to be enough to stop Arsenal, and I think they're going to score 3 or 4 in this one. There is some injuries, there is some absentees as well, but I do think 3 or 4 goals is on the cards. I'm going to go for Arsenal 4, Brentford, or Ivan Toney, 1. The early kickoff on Sunday is an absolute firecracker. Both of the surprise stories of the season go head to head. It's Aston Villa, Unai Emery's men against Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham Hotspur. Both teams still very comfortably in the running, in the driving seat for top 5, top 4 this year. And with both probably just about out the title race at this point, this is a 6-pointer to secure who is the best of the rest. Aston Villa will be coming off midweek duty playing Ajax, and Tottenham have had a full week of recovery after their victory last week. There's no way that both of these teams don't score 2 goals or more for me, but it is going to be a case of how much into who and who's actually going to come out the victor. Personally, I think this game is going to finish a draw. Anything was to split it, it would be the midweek fatigue that might edge it towards a Tottenham victory, but I'm going to go with a Desmond 2-2. I'm going to go with Aston Villa 2, Tottenham 2. Brighton versus Nottingham Forest this weekend feels like the Losers' Cup that we've been seeing most game weeks, where both teams are just bang out of form. Both are pretty desperate for 3 points. Nottingham Forest have definitely got more of a fire under their seat at the moment with that relegation trapdoor looming. It's getting closer and closer for them. Whereas Brighton, they're just kind of throwing away FA Cup runs and Premier League points kind of all over the place. And, you know, what should have been a good season for Brighton to kind of compound the results they've had in the last couple of years feels to be dwindling away. This game is definitely looking solid for 2.5 goals on this one. I do think we'll see someone get out of the Losers' Cup. I do think Brighton have got just a little bit too much quality for Nottingham Forest, but Nottingham Forest don't have that same pressure on their squad that I think Brighton have seen over the last couple of weeks and will continue to see. And I think Forest might be the upset of the weekend here. I'm going to go with Nottingham Forest 2, Brighton 1. David Moyes has been under incredible pressure from the West Ham fans that the football isn't good enough and the results and winning European trophies isn't good enough over the last couple of games. They have been scoring goals, they've been putting teams away, and I think they're going to get another opportunity to put another amazing scoreline on the record books for the season this weekend at home to Burnley, who feel, along with Sheffield United, dead and buried in this division. You need to go back to Burnley versus Luton for the last time Burnley didn't concede 2 or more goals in a game, and West Ham have scored 4 and 3 in their last 2. Coming off a midweek game with Freiburg, the squad might be a little bit thinner, but I don't think that's going to slow them down from scoring their 2 goals or more. I'm going to go with West Ham 3, Burnley 1. Jurgen Klopp versus Pep Guardiola has been one of the most legendary managerial head-to-heads in world football, and we're going to see it for the last time for Liverpool versus Man City this weekend in what is a massive 6-pointer in the title race. Liverpool do feel like they're getting into that invincible form that you really do need to win a Premier League title race like this, but Man City rested and rotated so many players midweek in the Champions League. They're also getting into that form. I think it's almost impossible to imagine Jurgen Klopp in his last season at Liverpool not winning this game and then going on to win the league. I think Liverpool are good to score 2 or 3 goals in this one, but Man City are equally as capable of scoring 2, 3 or 4. I do think Liverpool are going to win it, but I'm going to make it Liverpool 3, Man City 2. Chelsea versus Newcastle is a game that at the beginning of the season we would have all thought was going to be a fight for the top 4. And for Newcastle, it still is, but not for Chelsea. They are nowhere near it at the moment. Newcastle have just got a very impressive victory over Wolves last week, and they are keeping their European hopes for next season firmly alive, despite all of the hurdles and obstacles Eddie Howe and the Toon Army have had to overcome this year. They go away in this Chelsea match, and it's the perfect environment for Anthony Gordon, Alexander Isak and co to take Chelsea to the sword and score a couple of goals. I don't think Chelsea have a way of breaking open this Newcastle team, and although Chelsea have been very good at getting draws against the top teams in the league, I think Newcastle are going to get a famous away victory here. But I do think this game is going to be quite low scoring. I think Newcastle are going to win it by 2 goals to 1. I hope you enjoyed this one, guys. On screen there now is some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.